Alrighty, we are back again. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it in art asset development stream. Right back at it, use the washroom. Hmm. I think the cross. Now, like, import this as an empty. Let's see. Hey, what's on the menu? Hey, Cammy. So, it's been a while since we were originally in Unity. Like, a long time. So what I've done this week is moved all of the Unity assets over to the main project. So that's now done. So we have more of the final art of the game, or the current iteration of the final art of the game. But now we had to go through a lot of the truck stops. We changed the metrics for all the buildings and standardized everything, and so now I got to go through the medical module and re-export, re-import everything. to use the new standard. Yeah, I don't even think these need to be there anymore. I think the room is going to actually handle these. Oh, reporting. Yeah. And kind of redoing a lot of this that was kind of needed to be redone, right? I'm reading a geometry processing book from 2012, 2010, because I'm doing a lot of that recently, and I need a lot more solid understanding of the math and vocabulary. So geometry processing book, cool. became dark red. Let's not use this one. Okay. So all these room positions, I think I can match them to the door, then we'll offset them by the door. For the time being. Hmm.
Definitely not me. Yeah, they were born in 85. Yeah, but she's also intelligent. She can see you, or oh my God! I didn't even get that. I love it. And I actually once sat at a table for like an hour and a half with the guy who played Nod on Teacher's Nine Circuit, and my Hoover, and Mike McCartney, who's a special guest out in LA, and we talked about transference and that's just hilarious. That's a sci-fi one. Excuse me, go through online.
Lots of red in that console. There's definitely some red in the console. Yeah, I wonder why they're not registering. Like, reset's not even working. Oh, wait, hang on. Game manager instance request a rescue is being omitted. Yeah, so we should be seeing in cyan that we've been requesting to be rescued. Nothing there though. Maybe universe not found here. Okay, so if I die,
Yeah.
we are being put into the jail. Like, it's not even clicking. Oh, it's gonna look cool, man, as they flesh it all out. I'm excited. Just getting rid of all this placeholder stuff, so when you die, you actually appear, you know what I mean, in an actual... There's so much performance optimizations to do. It's gonna be a while before it's like gonna be super playable, but we will figure out all the things. That animation is terrible on the lights. Oh, I have two running? What? Oh, I don't know. Let me just close these.
know it's in the sugars. I'll say I do also have strength, like the period. Sugar 30 weeks. That's the point of this. No processed, yeah. No, I didn't mean. Yeah, no, I meant more cereal. Like, not.
There's an interesting color, but the strength is really bad. What the? Oh, does that say outside? The emission is 1. Should probably be 3. Hey, Mazda, how's it going? We're finally putting the game together, Maz. And what I mean by that is all of the multiplayer systems and everything are all working. And all the assets that I originally had in Unity, we get to actually put into the system and test them out. So now the ship is all nicely detailed again, and right, all the mag plates and everything. So over the next, I think 4 weeks or so, to be a bit longer, everything is going to kind of come together. Because all the multiplayer systems for multiplayer are pretty much working. You can play together, you can do missions, you can do NPC missions, all the NPCs work, they go from A to B, they do their own missions, you can outfit your ship, equip all the components. What we want to do though is, not have it gray box anymore. I want to get to a visual slice. I know last year Fusion was helping me, and Antix made a point a while back, and he's not wrong. Like, he's both right and wrong at the same time. Is that I spent all year and a half building all the systems, right? Like building all the multiplayer systems, inventory, like everything that the game needs. And we've left the game in a gray box state for all of that. So it's like on one side, I have more done than I've ever done in the game, as far as visually how the game functions and all the systems and everything. The downside is it really does look like visually I haven't done anything for a year and a half. And it's not that we haven't done, what I mean? Like, it's just like I haven't upgraded, right, any of the graphical stuff, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter, right? That you can go and upgrade everything, and you know what I mean? Like do missions and do deliveries and all that stuff. If right, if it doesn't matter, there's a lot of stuff here not working right now because me dumping in all the art assets has definitely messed up some of the panels. So that's stuff that I now have to fix, right? But all of the ability to play the game, you know what I mean, and kind of. Yeah, exactly. Right, but everything from targeting systems and all the holograms and the ability to see inside ships and sub-target and all of the NPC, every one of these NPCs here, let me see this guy here, this is not happening in Star Citizen. This guy is actually going to his ship, and then he's becoming a ship, and then this ship has cargo, right? And this ship is heading to another location to land, and it's transactional. You know what I mean? The NPCs are capable of traversing, right, from anywhere to anywhere, and they're always based upon their NPC. They're not just they don't just stay at one space station, right? They go around and they do their thing. They fly to and from, and right. So the fun of being able to pirate them, or to be a pirate and all that kind of stuff, But we're gonna get a lot of terrible performance, as a lot of those assets were already kind of badly optimized. They're from literally 3 years ago. But what I wanted to get working, Maz, though, was all of the base systems. I wanted to be able to do every type of mission, do all the delivery missions, get the reputation stuff working, get some of the basic planet stuff working, get some locations. Because remember, the goal of the game is always Sea of Thieves in space, right? Freelancer. Just the ability to have these instances of 16 to 24 people, right, where you can jump in with your friends and just work on the reputation, do some bounties, do You know, like a very smaller scope, more like economically viable game, right? That you can just, you know what I mean? Like keep coming back to, and, you know, keep adding to it, and, you know. Because I want to do a lot more on the story side. Like, I want to be more scoundrelly. You know what I mean? I want to have, like, you know, you have your backpack and you actually smuggle drugs into the station. You're actually doing like hacking missions with your terminal. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, you know, you're playing like you're playing a MUD from Star Wars. You know, the early Star Wars, where you had like slicing, and, you know, like I want like in Unforgiven Space, you can go up to a trade terminal and see what all the transactions are to see who was last there, right? So you can track them. Like, the idea is you would go to the terminal. First, you could, like, you know, you could hack the ship terminals themselves to see what the logs are of players or NPCs that have come and gone. Then you can economically check the transactions. Right, so these are part of slicing, but the gameplay mechanics are already in the game. It's just data the game already has, right? And so that way, you know, if you have the components on your ship, right, the idea is you leave and then you do like a wake scan, and then the wake scan, well, you know, every time you do a jump in the game, you leave a wake, like that has a signature on it, which can be picked up. So you can do some piracy, you know, you can actually like track a player. And the idea for the NPCs, right, is for them to not be destroyed right away. They last until they've finished 4 missions. They have a 4-mission cycle. So the chances of them being destroyed when you're doing a mission to go get them, or to rescue them, or vice versa, is, oh yeah, right, the gravity's messed up in the ship. Right, so there's a lot of just a lot of systems, you know what I mean, like right now being worked on for multiplayer, and like making it all work. But it's gonna need, like, you know, like I look at it now as like I'll need probably 2 more years of art, you know, and like even while doing a lot more writing and working on stuff, like, you know, now that I've proven the systems work and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, all the little growing pains are working. Right, like I did a prototype a while back. Let me show you this if you're still watching. Check this out. This is a very, very long time ago. We took a week break, and we did a fork of the main build. And we took the code base, and we actually put it into an MMO framework. So it's all the same, like, you know, the same game core. Only it has like skills, right? Skills and abilities, because I want Unforgiven Space to not be like a traditional FPS in the sense that I want you to gain like levels. You know, you have like kind of skill levels, right? Like, so as you're yeah, for a time, right? So as you're you know, kind of doing your thing, as you're doing smuggling, right? As you're doing combat missions, you're leveling up your piloting skills, right? And that might mean eventually you reach like level 60 in all your skills in the game, but you've put over 100 hours in the game at that point, right? The idea is for you have this reputation system that unlocks things, right? You start off, you don't know what any stations around you. As you're getting these missions, right, these abilities unlock, right? You can do some bootlegging, you can run liquor, you can run. So check this out. This is a little MMO framework, but this is actually, let me just aggro this thing. This is all Unforgiven Space. All of this code, right? If I join in and I join a group, let me just help him kill this. But it's Unforgiven Space themed, right? Like to a fantasy game. And you know how you know it's Unforgiven Space? So I can you know, target this guy. I can invite him to a party. Party system works. We can see our health bars. But I mean, like this was just because it was a fork, right? I have skills and abilities in this particular thing. Oh, hang on one second. Let me go to my OBS here and switch it to the wide. Right. So, and I'll join on with another one. And so all of these characters have like different skins, but check this out. This player is non-authority. I'm gonna jump in this ship here, right? And we'll take this guy. We're gonna take all these. This is how you this here's. So there's a whole like airship system up here. So check this out. Oh, hang on. Oh no, I broke it. Hang on. I broke my camera. No, I broke it. No, okay, well, you're gonna have the... Hang on. You're gonna have to be the hero. So this is how you know it's Unforgiven space. I'm moving around. Let me go in a death spiral. So yeah, this is my whole zone system from the main game, right? But anyway, this was like I made this in a week with AI, like from my own code, right? And we can actually like head over. I don't know why the. There we go. Let me. Yeah, no, the V-Joy is absolutely not. Come on, give me the V-Joy back. You can do it. Come on. No. It's gonna be like that. Maybe you can bring us over. I'm trying to find the test island, which has like a whole bunch of missions and stuff like that. Where is it? Oh, over here. So you can actually like dock this thing because it's fucking Unforgiven space code. So like the thing down here at the bottom where you can bring the ship and take the components off or whatever. But if we just bring this up here. Should be a little sweet spot here we can dock at. So I can find it. Maybe it's on the other side. And this was just gray box. I wanted an excuse to model an airship. There we go. No! No. I broke it. But anyway, test project. But you get the idea, right? It's all the same... Same code, but it's neat how you can kind of change it. You can just be like, you know what, we'll just have different components, and it'll be the same thing, same zone system, same different components, just different theme. But it shows the systems, right, in a more like small environment, and I want the skills and stuff to be like that too. People might complain about having that leveling system in the game, but it's totally, you know, I'm gonna go for it because it's how the Star Wars mod I used to play called Rise and Power was done. It was fantastic. Like, it was such a cool place to roleplay in. It was very gritty. It was great. When I was playing that game, I was a drug runner. I used to like pretty much buy spice and do nothing but like running spice. And it was really funny back then because players could get addicted to the spice. The spice itself would give you a slight benefit. This was like a 2D game, right? Where you just have you know, like rooms, right? Room descriptors. You go north, south, east, and west. You know, it's just an old MUDs. We're talking Telnet. But it was neat because as you started to run out of spice, you would start having withdrawal, and the withdrawal would make you hallucinate. So you start like seeing things in the room description that's not actually real. So the character would start freaking the fuck out, pretty much, right? So it forced you to rely on the player economy to actually like keep the drugs coming, right? Because you did get like stamina bonuses by being a drug addict in the game. But when you're like moving around, you get like so many like rooms per stamina, whatever you want to call it, right? But so then but the drug economy was players only. It was a players only economy, right? So you had to like find someone on the comm link, like in this game there was no chat. You had to set your comm link to a random frequency from 1 to 9999, and so you had the ability to like encrypt the signal if you wanted to, so it'd be like gibberish. But you would pretty much find a guy, you know, in game and be like, oh, hey, I want to get some spice, you know, set your frequency to like 776, and I'll contact you at like 2 p.m. or something, right? Let me, I just noticed I'm clipping. Let me turn down my my mic a little bit, or turn the boom. There we go. Just bring it down a little bit. So that's what I want to do, right? I want to kind of focus on just doing something different, right? Like it visually looks a bit like SC because it's a first-person space game, so how can it not? The other thing, Maz, as well, is we were doing a review of the art style, and because I want the game's lore to feel very Cowboy Bebop, right? Like you're in an 80s anime. I've been working on this shader, and it's not confirmed yet, like whether we go with the Star Citizen style that we've already gone with, like the 2012 Star Citizen or whatever. But by switching to like a style like this, where you literally are, you know what I mean, like an 80s anime character, you're in that world of like Cowboy Bebop visually. It would speed up development by like a year by doing it, and I think it would also make the game like super unique. So it's something that I'm thinking about. Like the ships look like crap right now because they still need their normal maps, but like, you know, you still get albedo coming through the shader, and you can set like all the different tones and stuff. And I think you know, it could really make a unique game that way. You know what I mean? Like you still have, you know, the detail to a certain degree, but it's it could be cool, you know. We'll have to see, because we're going to play around with it. We're going to add the shader in to the build and play around with it. I have a guy. His name is Tiago, and he's working for me, working on like a kind of a from scratch. Ignore the right. Like this is like a from scratch suit. Now ignore the head. The head was actually like a little bit of an SC suit that Antics had given me, but all the detail are all like painted, brush painted normals, and like a little bit more detail. There's stuff we're going to change with it, but it's. Let me see if I can go to the. Scroll up a bit here. Right, so like this is kind of a lower quality target, right? Like still, but still looking good, you know, like still with the right amount of detail, right? Because the goal ultimately is to try to make the game unique, right? And I want to do some. It'll be still a sandbox, but I'll do kind of like Sea of Thieves, where we will do some like quest lines that are a little bit fun. Like, I would like to have a event that's kind of like in Space Truckers, where like Charles Dance's character arrives, you know, to kind of take up the space truck. But like it'd be like similar to that, but it'd be like, you know, like an event where like a space pirate ship, you know, comes to port, and you can either join the pirates or you kind of go against them, and those types of missions would be voice acted for the main missions themselves. So they'd be like a layered. You know, you just have your typical sandbox where you know, obviously you have some basic voice lines like gutterances, you know, like, hey, how's it going? You know, like all of those, not like AI voices, but, you know, like basic primitives, right? But then you layer in, right, the extra content that kind of makes things a bit more unique. So that's the, you know, that's the idea. I'm always self-aware, right, that there's only me, right, working on this thing, right? And it's taken a long while to get everything ported over to Godot, you know, and get everything working where it is now. So now we need to get it going, right? And the only way the support like of the project is going to really grow is there's got to be proof there. There's got to be like it has to be marketable, not from the vision perspective, but from a showcase of systems that are working, right? Like I need to be able to show it off, and it's working at the visual level that we want it to be. You know what I mean? Like it's not fun. Like here's the test prison system. You know what I mean? And I know what the prison system is like. Right? I in my head, I know like you're going to arrive in prison, and it's you're going to have your terminal, and you're going to leave, and there's going to be rails. Like here, let me just kind of. This is what sucks. You know what I mean? Like, let me go to the prison module. Right. So like this is the prison module. Right. So this is the story. Right. So you go to jail. And when you're in jail, you'll always awaken in one of these random halves. And we're going to have voice-acted numbers, right? So when you exit, you have these turrets, right? These turrets are always going to be like looking at you because this is a humanless factory, right? So you're going to have these turrets tracking you. Everything is going to be very dusty, right? So I think like high volumetric. These are kind of doing their thing, and along the top of these rails, there's going to be a light bar, right? And the light bar is going to be like pulsating towards the UV direction guiding you. So it's going to say prisoner 8572, right? Whatever your ID is, please head to processing. So you're heading down the processing. You have no idea what's happening, right? There's other prisons, and as you can see, like this is not fleshed out. It's just this mirrored, right? You have your yard. You have this kind of overarching top level. Like this, there's a whole top level that you can't get to. It's kind of a mirror of this, but you're not ever going to go there. You're not meant to go there. You can't see up there anyway, right? But it's going to be another area of like kind of like fences and stuff that look cool, right? It's a big prison system, but you're just going to see the mirror of this all the way around, right? These yards are going to be like your vending machines, your little area, right? And a lot of signage and stuff that wants to take your credits earned in the game, right? Like in the thing, right? Like it's just it'll look cool, but it's hard to explain that. And then as you're coming down here, there's going to be turrets again. Like we don't trust prisoners with elevators because it's an automation, right? So you're heading down to the factory line. All the factory lines are the same. And the mini game here is straightforward. The mini game spawns one random 1x2 meter component. So it's a ship component, right? What you see behind the curtain here, which you won't be able to get to, is ships being made, right? The ships are being assembled, components are being put on, sparks are flying, bouncing off of everything. But this will kind of fade to darkness. You won't be able to see what's behind this, right? And the idea is you're just playing a mini game. The mini game is a tack welding mini game, right? So you're playing the tack welding mini game to gain the merits you need to leave prison. But economically, that's not what's happening. Economically, this is just a module attached to a space station. As you're keeping track of the things that you're actually repairing, that's actually what's being created at this station. This factory is producing these things, which means later on when you're not in prison, if you go back to this station, whatever the output is of these mini games that you're working on, that's actually the economic output. And whatever they need to be crafted, like argon gas for welding, metals, steel, aluminum, right? The intake and outtake of every economic node, which every station has, is based upon what's actually happening with it, right? This means that everything has some weird economic substance to it, even though it's a punishing minigame, right? There's another version of this where you're just growing space potatoes, right? You're literally, it's an agricultural farm that I've layered a prison on top of it, and you're just picking space potatoes, right? But it's just a stupid little minigame to give you 15 minutes, for your victim to kind of recover and do his thing. And there's 3 different prison types, right? A mining, obviously the factory, and then an agricultural. And then you won't realize that these prison systems are attached to the other modules, right? So that's kind of the experience of that. I hope is actually really fun when it kind of comes fleshed out, right? But it's kind of right. It's the same like with everything, right? Like the hospital stations, like the bigger hospital stations are right a lot cooler than the bigger ones. Like there's the refineries. The idea is we just make all of these systems, right? These modules, and then we automatically create all these stations. Like station V2 that I'm working on, it is like that. It's fully dynamic, right? We can dynamically, right, like generate, right, all these random, like hotels with rooms, the different cargo areas, right? Whatever the truck stop needs. Does the truck stop need power? Does it need an uplink? Right, and then these can all join together, right? They all join, right? And the ring stations can join in to these cores, right? Everything's meant to kind of be kind of cookie cutter to create these dynamically randomly generated stations that'll have hey Antix, how's it going? We're at my favorite part, Antix, where we're assembling the game, We're figuring out what needs detail, and just starting to put it all together. Dealing with some weird conversation. Oh, dealing with some weird color conversion from AV1, causing crushed reds and green tint on the final output. Weird. Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. I'm gonna do all baked lighting on the interior. Lighting is gonna be amazing. All the little lights and details are gonna be kind of baked in, and it'll be cool. Let's learn. Oh, 8 to 10-bit color thing. Interesting. Anyway, we were absolutely got distracted. Like every asset is now in this build. Like it's great. Like to give you an idea, Maz, like look, this is the bar that I'm working on here, and this is like if we go to rendered mode here, like this is Irish John's. Like this is like what I want visually. You know what I mean? But like just think of this like a motorcycle club and have like the big old. You know what I mean? Like hanging engine parts, you know what I mean? And ropes and like a lot of different kind of pipes and stuff on the ceiling. They make it a bit more rustic and like triple X signs, pink flamingo, all that kind of stuff. He's done a lot Mason to drop them. Last time it was just a ship and that was it. No, I've gotten a bit better. I've started to learn how to game dev a little bit, Yeah, so it's really funny, man. Like the advent of AI. So I took all of my props, and I don't know, Antix, if I was the one who sent you this. I think it was actually. Oh, maybe it wasn't. So I fed like I took this. Too bad Godot can't use Blender's Eevee Light, right? So I took this, right, like the dimensions of the thing. And fed all of my props in the Gemini because I was like, I want to figure out based on a 0.5 meter snapping, so 0.5 meter snapping, because everything in the game is a video game, it's like 1 meter or 2 meters, you know what I mean? Like so based on a 0.5 grid, rearrange everything for the maximum amount of patrons to be able to have 2 pool tables, to be able to eat, to have a kitchen, and it literally made this. And it's actually perfect. Like, these are 0.25 meter deep walls. Like there's more space than I even realized existed. Now I'm not going to do the arcade in the actual in the bar because I don't want the main entrance to go into an arcade. I want the main entrance to I want this to be more of a dance floor. But like, this is what I love about now. Like now we have AI that you can just be like, you know, here's all this data, create variants of the output of the randomization of this data that works really well, you know, design wise. Because like I told it these are the benches. This is the size. You know, I need at least 4 benches for food. Because before they were just over here, right? We had hard to let me turn off the. Okay, so they are these crappy. Yeah, like little benches here. I don't have the couches or anything in, but like I want to have like 4 benches. I still want to be able to play pool, so I needed enough room to be able to play pool. These actually light up too. These are awesome, right? And you know, but like there's a lot of weird dead space. It's not dead space. It's just like everything's bigger than what you think it is. There's more scale. Like as I'm like walking around here, there's like enough room for like bathrooms, but it just doesn't feel like it, right? But they're, you know, need paintings and like hockey sticks. Yeah, I want a whole bunch of bar lights. I want bar lights with a different beer, like Smuggler's Grit and like the lit bar lights, right? All the posters, like on the wall, you know, gambling. Oh, thanks for the biddies. That's your pledge for a ship. Hell yeah. I'll take that USD. But you can play like check this out, Maz. Let me show you the. I'll do one more demo. The downfall right now is the performance right now is so bad in the game. It'll get better, right? Like I know where all the issues lie, and there's a bit of tooling that's going to need to be done to auto bake a lot of the meshes together. I'm going to have to build an importer that'll take some of the. So check this out, right? Like here I am on the server, right? And there's nobody here. I'm going to just reset the character. This is like a semi-gray box character, right? And they all have different. The other thing is I'm probably going to appear in the station now, actually, because I just fixed it. Nope. Okay, we're here. So we have our Space Weed. I'm going to join in with another character. When I join in with this, like another character that's not the server, what the system actually does, the system dynamically loads in the whole star system and the whole region for that player and activates like all the NPCs. So what'll happen is when there's no players running, the star system self-collapse. Yeah, so like, you know, so here we are, you know, we're 2 players, male and female that I created. We have all the IK stuff working, you know, ADS. You know, we can do some very primitive stuff. Oh man, I got to get the panels fixed from. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to show you anything because I broke the panels. I didn't break them; they're just dark. You can't see what they're actually showcasing. So I might need to. Yeah, no. I'm working on an optimization that only creates a render target on the closest one. But you see, like all of the multiplayer here is. Well, I guess we could probably take this ship. Yeah. Is that my ship? Or is that an NPC? That is my ship. Okay. Hang on. Okay, so I think this actually is working. Let me just spawn in some components real quick. Oh, okay, it's working. Okay, yeah, good. I just need to fix the draw. Oh yeah, yeah. So let's take some space weed. The, 1066 gig 60 FPS is the target. Yeah. The reason why FPS is pretty much dying now, like absolutely dying, is the sub viewports. It is the actual. Let me show you. Look at this, because it's per system, right? If we go to the visual profiler, let me let's go to debugger here. Visual profiler. Let's start. Let's move this up. Okay, look how many sub viewports are rendering shit. Hang on, let's go with sub viewport 1, sub viewport 2. Oh, I can't collide them. Anyway, there's just millions of sub viewports, right? One for every one of the panels that are in the scene. So they're like absolutely like destroying our rendering loop right now. Is like. So with the canvases not rendering at all, right? That'll fix it. So that means that all of these, like right now, I need to undo the change that I made. But what's going to happen in future is every one of these panel 3Ds, right? Their sub viewports are actually going to be fully disabled. And they're going to have a placeholder texture, which is like one of those, click to render. You know what I mean? Like click to interact. Like pretty much only when you're close enough to a panel do they activate. So I'm either going to do it in two ways. I'm going to when we first click, like it'll wake it up, and that might be the best performance compromise. But the secondary option is we use the interactor around the player. And whenever these static bodies, whenever the panels enter, the interaction area of the player, we turn them on, right? So then we're only ever turning on whichever ones are around the player anyway. And then, but there's always like some risk of like teleporting or something, and that one ends up getting stuck on the client or something like that. But which is fine, because then what I'm going to do is I'll have a timer on each of them. Right, so every time they activate, they just reset a timer, and then when the timer, counts down, they will disable completely, and just completely clear the sub viewport texture. So that's the idea, right? Like they need to sleep, they need to go away, and they're also set so that if the parent of the sub viewport is not visible, they don't render it anyway. So on client side also. These will have a visibility, or a visibility, kind of distance, and then we're not going to render any of these things anyway. Yep, yeah. So they're set right now to be only. Well, they're disabled by default until but when the parent is visible. Right, so when they're like being called away, but I'll play around with it, like because that's what I need to solve this week, right? Is redo the actual render targets and make sure they're good. I'm gonna try to get like a bit of a performance leap, but until I get everything, it's really just cleaning up assets, right? Yeah, because as we start like baking a lot of the light maps and cleaning up lights, and there's a lot of lights in the scene too, and a lot of the lights don't have distance fade enabled. Like all the lights should have distance fade. Like if most of the modules are only like 32 meters, then like every single light in the game can have a distance fade of 64 meters, and it won't affect anything. You know what I mean? And similarly for a lot of the lights on the outside. I actually want to use, like, at a distance, I want to use a billboard. So they have like a, you know, you can see them in the distance. They're not really lights thin, right? They're just an emissive material. You know what I mean? Right? That just becomes like, you know, at a distance, these little billboards that have like a minimum viable scale, depending on, you know, their view threshold. So you can kind of see some blinking lights and cool stuff, you know, from a distance and stuff like that, right? So it's just right now. Everything going forward now is just going to be about like find the compromise, find the compromise, right? But I get the opportunity now to start making things dark that I wanted it, and start using the screen space lighting to my advantage, and kind of start getting the feel. Yeah, this is a hospital. This is going to be well lit, but I can kind of I can get a feel of how screen space lighting will work. Right, so you know, I'm going to be obviously still using like there's no lights here at all. There's not a single light in this. Well, there's one here. There's one light, one real-time light here. All of this is being lit in screen space, and it looks fine, right? But you still need a couple of lights to drive shadows, right? You still need some shadow casters, but you don't need a lot of shadow casters, right? You can get by with a lot. And then depending on the type of lighting, like if it's a really bright medical facility, it could be so kind of bright that, you know what I mean, it kind of blows out a lot of the shadows, so they don't need to be too crazy. But the goal is to kind of keep a minimum or maximum of 8 real-time lights around a player. So as a player is moving around from station to station, lights are obviously calling out, you know, based on the max distance. And, you know, we have this fusion. Everything inside the station should be backlighting with layered real-time lighting. Right, all of this is backlighting in here. Like it's the first pass. So all this kind of shadow here is kind of a first pass test that I did to see kind of how things look. And it's very neat because we come over here, right? This is the sunlight. Right, and this is the sunlight touching the backlighting, right? So as I rotate this this truck stop that we're in, right? See, like the lighting angle is obviously changing, right? But it's still not bad. Like it still does a good job blending the backlighting, which you can see here, right, with the real time. Right, which, you know, kind of gives us that little bit of balance, especially if we know the interiors are always going to be darker than our sunlight, which is the plan. Like my plan is to kind of build all these little pot lights, like small little lights, like along running boards, like for the paneling of all this. And then when I go through each module, because we do lighting per module, this way, like these little joiners in between will kind of cancel the lights between, like kind of, there'll be some type of separation. Not sure what I'm going to do here. Like you can see, like there's here we have the difference of the baked lighting, right? And it kind of like looks a bit jarring, right? Because we now have these, you know, this kind of separation of concern. But I think, like I said, we don't really need to have a big open area, you know, like they can kind of come into the module. You know, we can put props and things and kind of stuff around to kind of, you know, mask the seams. You know what I mean? Like the goal is to kind of use both. Like use very classical lighting methodologies. Right, like hangars, totally baked lighting. And then we throw in, like, because it's a hangar and the hangars are very important, you know, we'll do a real-time reflection probe. But it'll be that real-time reflection probe will only be active when someone's in the hangar. So we get all of our reflections and all the metal shiny parts and stuff. So there's a lot of thought, you know what I mean, that goes into like this is all baked. Right? It looks like crap right now, you know? Like a lot of this stuff, you know, is kind of like I know what it's going to look like. In my head I can see all of this. It's annoying. But I'm not joking. Like if I don't, if I can't get another artist, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at 2 more years of art ahead of me. You know, while we're still like working on systems, but at least we'll get it all online. You know what I mean? You can play it and like it'll be optimized. But still, like, definitely 2 years of art asset development ahead of us as we work on the project. It'll be fun. But it's coming together. That's all I really care about. So we got to finish the bar. So today, all I want to do is get this station in, and it's in. It works. Okay, good. So tomorrow we're going to do the bar. So we'll get the bar put together. And by the weekend, we're going to do optimization. So weekend's going to be nothing but like code, doing optimizations. I want to try to work on a baking system that can work in the engine where we can take an asset and it'll create a copy of the asset, but a copy of the asset where it bakes all the materials and UVs, and we're just going to try to, you know what I mean, like optimize some of the import. Because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things like, and some of you guys might know, like when you're bringing in something into Godot, like here is fine because the root object is a rigid body, right? But when you have a model, and I do a new inherited scene, so straight from Blender, I hate that the root object is a node 3D, right? Like I want it to import as a mesh, but then I know, like, alternatively, I know I can import the assets as a mesh. You know what I mean? I could just import, you know, as a mesh, but then I got to put all the meshes together. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is kind of bring them in from Blender, so they kind of work like this, but then kind of take the mesh hierarchy, save the mesh hierarchy out. But the issue is, like, because it's an inherited scene, we can't. You know, like it's kind of you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, there's no great way that I'm aware of, right? So without making a custom import script, so like this is the GLB tri laser. Maybe you guys might know, you know what I mean? Maybe there is a way, but so the tri laser GLB, this is the blend file. Here's the scene, right? Then we have our mesh, and what I would love to do is find a way to ignore, right, the root node. And right, so we can change the type of root node. You could, you know what I mean? Like you can do the root. You can say like, oh, I want this to be a rigid body for the root node type, but there isn't, as far as I'm aware. You know what I mean? I know you could do a whole skeleton thing, like that works, but it's weird that I can't, like. It's weird that we always get one extra node, right? Especially when we're trying to, like, keep the node count down. Right, like we just get this one extra node. We can write like an import plugin that customizes like how it works, like removing the extra node 3D. That's what we're going to need to go into. I've done this before too. Like I was working on a plugin for like live syncing Blender and Godot. It's called MonoSync, and a few other things. Like I've done a lot of this stuff in testing. But I've never committed to the pipeline of it, right? And that's the issue, right? We want to find a pipeline, right? It's too much work to re-import everything. You know what I mean? It's generally not needed, but not if you kind of say, yeah, like so. Yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm thinking. Like for a lot of this stuff, we could start merging a lot of this stuff together. Right, so that we, you know, we only get one mesh, and then because it's one mesh, then, you know, we could just save the mesh out, and then it is only a mesh, right? So then it's just a mesh instance. It's one thing, but I don't know how well that's going to work with the UVs and everything, and you know, so, you know, it might have to be more of a Blender pipeline that we kind of do where we, you know, like export it all as one mesh, which is what we should have anyway. Right, but right now from the old, like none of this is. These are all different individual meshes, right? And, which is good for editing them. You know what I mean? But not, you know, for making changes, but not good for the asset itself. So those are like some of the mesh optimization stuff we'll need to look into. right? Like how do we bake this down, right? Like, and you know, the more we can do in Blender, the more of a workflow we can create that we can follow, right? Because one of the things I've done back when we were working on a lot of this in Unity, because even like some of the materials, I think like if you join it all together, you're still going to link all those materials. You're still going to have a big material cost. So if we were to do like a tri-laser, well, that's how we're gonna like find the performance now, right? Like we want to go through, we want to start finding the performance, right? And you know, for a lot of this, like topology wise, all of this is fine. Like you know, there's very little. I know there's a, you know, there is a bevel on this stuff on some of these things, which we can definitely remove. Like there's definitely some room for improvement, right? Like, but 16-sided, you know, is pretty fine. But because it's non-destructive, we want to be able to like edit the, you know, the issues when we kind of go through a process, right? Like we did tri-laser Godot. Right, but now we get a duplicate of everything, which is fine if we're going to join it all together. Oh my god, go away, click up. But then we also have to apply all the modifiers as well. But, you know, and then all these material slots then still, it would still make more sense to kind of take some time, I guess, and kind of merge it correctly. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, hang on. Let me read your. Yeah, one mesh should work pretty good because Godot. Why is my scroll wheel backwards? Because Godot meshes also have multiple surfaces with their own materials. There's no built-in feature in Godot to break them apart. Bring this actually very straightforward with a tool script if you need to break them out again. You want to keep them separate for like animatable components, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. Right now I'm working on tools to generate and create edit meshes in Godot without going through the import step, which has its own set of fun problems. Hell yeah. I'm just screwing around. I'm just seeing like kind of where I can go with this, kind of with what I have, to kind of decrease some of the materials. Like a lot of this like can kind of be shared too, to be honest. Like it wouldn't be too bad of a workflow. They're just kind of, because then you can get rid of a lot of the center edge loops. And you can still separate them, you know what I mean? By just, you know. Alright, try laser and call it opti. A little opti prefix on the end of it. Well, I forgot my mirror modifier on the cooler. What? Oh, give it an empty file name. Save the file. What are these getting linked against? The ones that got auto exported? Where's the mesh offset? Oh, because it is. Boom. Yeah, because this would be cool, right? Then we're just getting literally just the mesh. We have just the mesh. We have our shadow mask. And just our material data from the mesh. We still want to go through and bake. Like, we still want to try to get all the islands separated and like bake an actual texture out. So it should still be one material. So like, it's still a quick win. I mean, it's not a quick win if there's still one mesh that has many materials. It's still a draw caliper, but you know, that can be easily fixed. I'm gonna discard this one change. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it here on YouTube, and I'm going to go get ready to raid someone. Realize it's 12. You guys have fun. If you guys aren't following me on YouTube, check out the YouTube, just at Revere as well. I got to start doing some dev vlogs. I think we will soon be in a good spot to do dev vlogs. And once again, for anyone that wants help with the project, just check out patreon.com/unforgivenspace. $5 gives you access to the test builds. They're bad. They're development builds. They're not like play the game builds. They're like, I just want Rab to have $5, so eventually we can get another artist, or we can get, you know, like commissioned art, more commissioned art, pretty much, just to get the pipeline going. Either way, we're gonna sit here. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna keep, you know, learning. We're gonna keep, you know, adding features. We're gonna see what happens, and it's going to be cool. See where we go.